Okay, so these are going to be notes on photosynthesis, and I hope the unit is going well for you so far. It's kind of interesting. We're talking about energy and how it's produced by living things. Here we're talking about this most important process probably of all, which is photosynthesis. And this is where plants or autotrophs take sunlight and turn it into energy that can be used by the cell. You see the basic definition here. It's called the production of energy from sunlight. A real basic idea. Plants are taking sunlight, completing some chemical reactions, and then producing glucose as a result of sugars. This mostly occurs just in plants. There are a few animals that do it, but mostly just in plants. We look here, therefore, they come up with a name. Scientists come up with the name autotrophs. So these are organisms that can complete photosynthesis and make their own food. So this is restricted just to organisms that can do sunlight. And there are some organisms that do something called chemosynthesis, where they take chemicals, and these are organisms that live at the bottom of the ocean. They're kind of rare, they're not all that common. But for the most part, it's autotrophs, taking sunlight, turning that sunlight through other chemical processes into glucose or sugars. But they're called autotrophs. And here, we look at it more scientifically, say we're producing sugars and oxygen. So this is the products. And it uses carbon dioxide, CO2, and water, H2O. And what's kind of amazing about this is the basic parts that it uses, the basic particles. Water, carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is produced by most animals on the planet. Ready source of it. Okay. Also produced by many other natural processes. And also water. An abundant source on our planet in most places. Now there's deserts and such where there's not as much water, but it's a relatively abundant source. And it produces sugars needed for energy, and then oxygen, which are then needed by the animals and other things as well. So it's kind of a really cool cycle that's occurring. If we look at the main substance that helps in this process are pigments. And the main pigments in plants are chlorophyll A and B. These are the green pigments, and pigments are what give them a color. And they're really the substance that's absorbing the sunlight and then starting these chemical reactions where H2O gets broken down into its main particles and so on. Chlorophyll A and B, the main pigment in plants. Anytime you see this PHYL, you know it's some type of pigment. Just an ending they put on there. And here's the equation for photosynthesis. It's 6CO2, 6H2O. Here's the reactants. And then the products. Produces. So a more simple thing, CO2 and H2O gives us sugars and oxygen. And this arrow means yields, but also we should put in here it means sunlight. So then we look at the main organelle where photosynthesis occurs is the chloroplast. Look at this here. And the chloroplast has two membranes, the thylakoid and the grana. Or two membranes, I'm sorry. And then there's also other parts within the chloroplast. One is called a thylakoid, which are little pancakes. And then grana, you then take the stacks of those pancakes, the thylakoids, and then makes grana. And then stroma is the open area between the inner and outer membrane. So if we look at this, I'm going to draw a little short picture, a small picture, quick picture. And go like this, we'll go forward direction. So here's your inner and outer membrane. And then within that, we have little pancakes. They're all connected in some way to each other. And then you have this open space here. Just make a pillow. Open space, all this open space. Okay. This is the stroma. This part right here, one of them, is the thylakoid. And this whole thing is the grana. They all work together to complete these chemical reactions. And this is where this organelle uses the idea of diffusion. If you remember from our diffusion unit, we just need to get more particles on one side of the membrane than the other, and the membrane can then open and allow those particles then to move naturally from one place to another. The chloroplast does that, and in the end result produces glucose and oxygen and cycles all these little particles and compounds. So if we go to the next page. Finally, photosynthesis occurs in two reactions. They're called the light reactions and the dark reactions. Well, they have another name they call them, you might see this. They're called light dependent, LD, and then light independent, LI. And what this really means is the light reactions, they need sunlight. If there's no sunlight, they can't occur. And this is the beginning part of photosynthesis. And then dark reactions, they can occur anytime. And really, the important idea to understand is whatever's produced here, the products, they drive these. So then the light reaction makes what's everything that's needed, not everything, but most of them, a lot of the particles or compounds. And then the dark reaction uses them, and then, but it doesn't necessarily need sunlight. And that part of the dark reactions where glucose is made is called the Calvin cycle. But then the products that are produced in the dark reactions are then recycled back into the light reactions. And it's just a cycling process where products are produced in one, used in the other, then new products are produced and used in the other one. And as long as there's sunlight and CO2, everything can continue. And that's your introduction to photosynthesis. If you have any questions, let me know. Keep working hard on your modules. Get done with these. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll talk to you later.